Hello, my divine souls. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness, with your spiritual guide and twin flame coach Neha. In today's episode, we will understand that why does the divine masculine pull away in this twin flame journey. Now, have you ever wondered that why your divine masculine suddenly becomes distant? Why does someone who once seemed deeply connected suddenly stops communicating with you, or avoids emotional and deep conversations, or even disappears completely from your life? And you start questioning that, was this connection fake, or did they stop loving you, or is there something much deeper happening beneath the surface? Now, if you are in a genuine twin flame journey, the divine masculine's withdrawal is rarely about a lack of love. In many cases, it is actually the result of love becoming too intense for their current level of consciousness. So, today we are going to explore the spiritual, psychological, and energetic reasons why the divine masculine pulls away. We'll discuss that what is happening inside their mind, how their soul experiences the connection, and why separation often becomes necessary. So, the divine masculine is not determined by biological gender. It has nothing to do with male or female. It is an energetic role. Divine masculine can be in a female body also, it can be in a male body also. But what does this energy of divine masculine actually represents? The energy of divine masculine represents action, logic, being practical, protection, structure, external achievement. So many divine masculines have spent most of their lives learning to survive through logic instead of emotions, because they have been raised in such an environment and family dynamics which taught them not to cry because it is weakness. They expected them to always be strong, to always handle everything by themselves. They were taught that success matters more than feelings, and as a result, emotional vulnerability often feels unsafe to them. Then suddenly what happens? They meet their twin flame and everything changes. Now, one of the first thing that the twin flame connection does is it removes every emotional mask. And as we know, the twin flame acts as a mirror, and the divine masculine, because of the mirror, begins to experience unconditional love, emotional intimacy, soul recognition, spiritual awakening, and energetic sensitivity. Now, this can be beautiful, but initially it can also feel terrifying, because for the first time someone is seeing the real person beneath the protective walls. They had this protective sheet around them, this protective wall. Now suddenly a person comes into their life and sees the real person, the real soul. They show them the mirror, so they get terrified. And that level of exposure does what? It triggers fear, because they are not used to someone being so close, understanding their emotions, showing them unconditional love. They don't know what it is. It's like you've brought an ape from a jungle and suddenly you're teaching them how to love, you're teaching them how to sit, you're loving them, you're trying to cuddle them. For example, you bring a monkey from a jungle. Do you think that monkey is going to behave properly? Now, I am not insulting the divine masculine by calling them monkey or such, but just think, a person being in a strict environment where they are not understood, they are not loved, they are not cared properly for years since childhood. And suddenly a person enters their life who gives them everything that they never even thought they'll ever have in their life. Don't you think that feeling is extremely terrifying? Don't you think the divine masculine will question themselves that, is this true or am I dreaming? Or maybe they'll even question that maybe this other person is fake. They're trying to pretend someone that they are not. So that triggers what? It triggers fear. Now, what are the reasons that your divine masculine pulls away? First reason is that because the connection feels too intense. Ordinary relationships, we know, it develops gradually. But twin flame connection, what happens? It feels immediate. As soon as you meet the person, you feel like, oh my god, I know him, I know her. But I'm meeting this person for the first time. How is that possible? That happened with me. And me being the divine feminine, I got terrified. I was scared. I was shit scared. I was like, what is going on? Who is this person? I've never met him in my life. Though we used to talk on calls. Not even video calls. Just calls sometimes. Once in a blue moon. It was not like frequently calling every day. And suddenly that person comes near you and you feel so much familiar. It's like you but in another body. So don't you think that feeling is so terrifying? Especially when you have dealt with so many persons who showed you wrong love, who showed you toxicity. It's terrifying, of course. So since this twin flame connection feels so immediate, the emotions are overwhelming, but you also know that the chemistry feels magnetic. The spiritual recognition happens before logic can explain it. Your soul recognizes that person. And in that situation, many divine masculines, they start questioning themselves that, why can't I stop thinking about this person? Why do I feel so different around them? What is happening to me? Why does this person seem so nice? Are they faking it? So this intensity activates parts of them that have remained asleep for years. Because like I told you, they have been in a situation. I'll take an example like that situation is they have been in jungle for a very long time. Nobody has loved them or cared for them. And when the nervous system cannot process such intensity, what it does? It chooses distance. They think that being away from this person is more better. Pulling away becomes an unconscious attempt to regulate overwhelming emotions. That's why they pull away. The second reason is that the childhood wounds becomes activated. The twin flame journey doesn't create wounds, remember that. It reveals the old wounds. Many divine masculines we know, they carry a hidden pain from childhood like emotional neglect, abandonment, conditional love, rejection. So these wounds may have been buried beneath years of work, achievement or emotional suppression. So when genuine unconditional love enters their life, the buried pain resurfaces. So instead of feeling only love, they also feel every wound that prevented them from receiving love. And this emotional flooding often causes withdrawal. The third reason is fear of vulnerability. For many divine masculines, love feels risky. Opening their heart means they could be rejected, betrayed, or they can lose control over the situations rather than risk emotional pain. So they distance themselves before anyone else can leave them. They think that this person is also the same. I have been betrayed in the past, so it's better I leave them before they do it. And this is not because they don't love. It's because they don't yet know how to remain open while feeling emotionally exposed. They have never been vulnerable in their life, and one person suddenly enters their life and they feel so vulnerable near them, so it scares them. So they don't want to be open, they don't want to emotionally express themselves. So what they do, they distance themselves. The fourth reason is identity crisis. Before awakening, many divine masculines define themselves through career, status, financial success, responsibility, and many other external achievements. But the twin flame journey asks a very different question. The question is like, who are you when all of those identities disappear? Right? When your success is not there, when your status is not there, when achievements are not there, who are you? And this question creates an identity crisis, and the soul begins pulling them towards authenticity. But the ego tries pulling them back towards familiarity. There is a tug of war going on. The soul begins pulling them towards authenticity, and the ego tries to pull them back towards familiarity. So it is a tug of war between the soul and ego. And this inner conflict often results in what? Physical separation. Because they cannot handle that intensity, because the soul is saying something else and the ego is saying something else, and they can't understand. It gets jumbled, so they separate themselves entirely from that entire situation. Now the fifth reason is what? The ego feels threatened. Because there is a tug of war going between the ego and the soul, the ego feels threatened that the soul will conquer. Because the ego survives through certainty, and the twin flame connection destroys such certainty. The ego often asks questions like, what if this is not real? What if I lose everything? What if people judge me? What if this dynamic changes my entire life? So they don't want to surrender. The ego doesn't want to surrender. What it does, it wants to fight back. That's why there is a tug of war between the soul and the ego. And how does the ego fight? It fights sometimes by denying the connection, by distracting themselves in work, or by leaving completely the entire dynamic. They'll run away. The another reason why they pull away is that they need to experience their own lessons. Many people believe they should heal the divine masculine. Now this is not the purpose of the twin flame journey, because every soul has their own individual karma, individual lessons, individual healing, individual karmic cycles. So if the divine feminine constantly rescues, the divine masculine will never develop inner strength. Because growth cannot be borrowed, healing cannot be borrowed, it must be experienced. Because just like divine feminine has her own individual journey, the divine masculine also have their own individual journey, and they need space to develop their inner strength. The seventh reason is that they fear losing freedom. Many divine masculines unconsciously associate commitment with losing independence. Now, why this happens? Because twin flame connections, they feel permanent, and permanence can feel frightening, because their subconscious mind says that, what if I lose myself? What if I can't escape? What if I'm trapped in this relationship, in this dynamic forever? Ironically, the twin flame journey doesn't remove freedom. It teaches conscious choice, conscious decisions. But until and unless they don't understand that it is a conscious choice, conscious decision, conscious living, they may start running, and they will continue running until and unless they don't have this clear understanding of conscious choices in their life. Another reason is that spiritual awakening can be quite frightening to them, because not everyone expects spiritual awakening. So these experiences challenge everything they previously believed. Some people, they were logical, some people, they were atheist. So if someone has spent their life trusting only logic, suddenly experiencing the unseen world can feel overwhelming, dreams, synchronicities, angel numbers, intuition, energy shifts. It's extremely overwhelming. Suddenly, you're living a practical life where only computer, iPads are working. You sick, you go to the doctor, blood tests are working, they're giving you medicine, and you are healing. The other day, you wake up and your body feels heavy, but it's not because you're sick, it's because there is energetic shift. And by the time you understand that it is not sickness, it is energetic shift, you will question everything around you. It means that you were living in a delusional world, which is true. Actually, according to me, I have reached far, not that far in this journey. Previously, I used to think that the delusional world, right, is our dreams, patterns, or intuition, seeing ghosts, feeling spirits. These are delusions. I used to think that before awakening, before being in this journey. And I used to consider that, working, going to work, feeling sick, science, blood tests, medicines, all these are practical. These are realistic. After my awakening, it has become the other way around. How? I feel that this world is delusional. These working whole day in computers, iPads, going to the doctor, filling up a responsibility at home, in family. These are delusions. We are living in a delusional life. But the synchronicities, energetic shifts, Kundalini awakening, connecting to spirits, connecting to divine, connecting to nature, connecting to animals, believing in souls, believing in spirits, believing in karmic cycles. So many things. Quantum leap, quantum jump, divine timing. Actually, these are realistic things which humans have made, right? These are delusions. That's why don't be taken away by this delusional life. You have come here to fulfill your purpose, which is actually realistic. Your soul is realistic. Your karmic cycles are realistic. Your generational curses are realistic. That's why you have to go through so much when you're in awakening process. Does your computer or iPad or your work have to go through sorry for stammering. Something is wrong with me. I've been stammering since few days. I don't know why. Maybe because of my busy schedule. Please don't mind me. These computers and iPads are not realistic. That's why when you go to work or you are studying somewhere, it takes hard work, it takes hard labor. I'm not denying that, but it is not painful like when you have to shed your old wounds, shed your skin, going through dark night of the soul. So just compare both the worlds, the 3D world of computer, iPad, working, going, giving medicine, eating medicine, giving blood tests, going to the doctors, and compare the life of awakening, like figuring out that your Kundalini is awakening, figuring out that your energy is shifting. So just compare both and you'll get your answer which one is more painful. So whichever is more painful, that is more realistic to me. The life that I am living right now in this 3D, like making videos, doing my work, it doesn't satisfy me anymore. Why it doesn't satisfy me? Because these are worldly roles that we have been sent here to create. But that soul, that belonging, that sense of shifting, clearing cycles, karmic debts, that we have been doing, our soul has been doing over the past many lives. That is who we are actually. This is just a role. Just like in skit competitions in school and colleges, I guess you must have seen. In our concerts, we had this play of Wizard of Oz. Everybody had their own roles. So just imagine, You'll get your answer. The world which is more painful, that is not delusion. Actually, that is the reality. But this comparison and understanding between the 3D and 5D, understanding between which one is realistic and which one is delusional, only those people will be able to understand who have awakened or who are in this journey. You go and tell a common layman, they'll think that you have gone crazy. They think you are psycho. Don't try to do that. I'm just telling you. Yeah. So the another reason is that the nervous system is overloaded. Many divine masculines are not emotionally avoiding love. They are just physiologically overwhelmed. So their nervous system shifts into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze or fawn, like I told in a previous episode. They are always in a autopilot mode. So the runner response often reflects a flight response. It is not always a conscious decision from their side. The body interprets emotional intimacy as danger because intimacy was never modeled as safety in childhood. And when they grew up, they got trapped in such relationships where intimacy never felt safe. Sometimes they were with wrong partners, wrong husband, wife, never gave them that emotional security or love or intimacy which they deserved. So when that emotional intimacy comes from the divine feminine, they don't take it as a safety, they consider it as a danger until and unless their nervous system heals. This kind of love continues feeling unsafe to them. Another reason is that the divine timing requires individual growth. Because love alone is not enough. Timing also matters, healing matters, consciousness matters. You all know that. The divine masculine may genuinely love the feminine, but if they have not yet developed emotional maturity, taking accountability, being self-aware, the relationship may not be sustainable. That's why it becomes disbalanced and one person starts running and another person starts chasing. And the universe is not punishing either counterpart through separation. It is preparation period, like I've always told you. It is a preparation period for them individually for a healthy union. Now, in such situations, what should the divine feminine do? This is where many people lose themselves. They start chasing, over-explaining, trying to fix, trying to teach, trying to convince, trying to save. But the divine feminine's true lesson is actually different. Instead of asking, how do I bring them back? The divine feminines, you should ask yourself that, how do I come back to myself? Because this journey at the end of the day is all about inner union. It's not about physical union with your counterpart. It is firstly about your inner union with yourself. So paradoxically, when you stop abandoning yourself, you create the energetic conditions for healthier connection. Now, many people, they have a very common question when the divine masculine runs away or pulls away, that does divine masculine return? What will happen? This is a very common question. But not every person returns in the way we imagine, because life circumstances are different. People awaken at different speed in their own divine timing. So, what truly matters is not predicting another person's choice, but becoming the healthiest and most authentic version of yourself. Because, like I told you, if reunion is aligned for you, it will unfold through mutual growth, accountability and conscious choice, not through chasing or waiting in suffering. Waiting in suffering means punishing yourself, and I've told you, get out of your waiting energy if you're stuck in a waiting energy. So the twin flame journey is often misunderstood as a search for another person. But Like I've told you that it is about transformation, deep transformation. The divine masculine pulls away not simply to create distance, but because unresolved fears, conditioning, and wounds rise to the surface. So the divine feminine is invited to stop seeking completion outside herself. Both souls are called to evolve into wholeness, and when both individuals choose healing over fear, responsibility over avoidance, and authenticity over ego, they become capable of creating a relationship rooted in love rather than survival. Now, if the divine masculine has pulled away in your case, remember that sometimes distance is not the opposite of love. Sometimes it is a space where transformation begins. And rather than controlling another person's journey, focus on your own healing, your own purpose, and your own relationship with divine. The strongest twin flame connections are not built through pursuit. They are built through inner alignment, emotional maturity, and conscious choice. So, you need to trust the process, honor your growth, and allow divine timing to unfold what is truly meant for you. Now, if you really like this episode, do like, share, subscribe, and comment. And for any kind of personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in the description box. I am grateful to you all for supporting my channel. Please keep on supporting me more so that I can grow, so that I will always be motivated to make more videos and bring more wisdom to this channel to help you all grow into this journey. Thank you for being a part of this divine family, divine soul family. Thank you to all of you. I'm grateful to each and every one of you. I'll see you again in another episode.